Welcome back, guys, to this second podcast video. We're gonna Jey Uso it and run it back. So, what was I gonna say? You know who we are? It's Jay and Jay and Jay Trading Bros. Ooh, we're gonna have a great podcast for you today. We're gonna be talking soccer mostly. So if this isn't your topic, I'm sorry, but it's gonna be mostly a soccer thing. This is one of our passions. As far as everybody here, we all got different teams. We all talk shit. So it is what it is. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna tell you a bit about the Rapids. We're gonna be talking about the World Cup. We're going to be talking about everything soccer. So, without further ado, roll the intro. Alright, we got our drinks. We got this nice lighting in the background. We got a nice collection of stuff. And now we're going to get started. As we said, we're going to be doing soccer-centric video podcast. We're going to be starting here with our first topic of the night. Colorado Rapids. I've been a fan since they started. Back in 96, I used to watch my cousin, my cousin Carlos, shout out to him, his brother. He was the one that kind of got me more into soccer. He was playing, we would go to the games. We were living, where we were living. And it was crazy, just watching people. I would play here and there, but I wasn't big into it like that. When the Rapids won the cup back in 2010, that was exciting. That was crazy. How they won it. It was just like a last minute thing, and it was just like, oh my God, like what just happened? And yeah, it's been exciting. We've been going as a group for now going on 10 years as a big group. My wife, my brother, Johnny. Used to be my two nephews, but now, we kind of split apart a bit on that, but like they'll come from time to time. And then we met Bobby, shout out to Bobby. He was our first representative, really that got us in, he was a lot of the reason why we kept coming back. It was just the experience of having that representative. He got us to our first game. Courtside seats, if I remember right. It was the Budweiser seats. That first game that we went with Bobby.
Sideline seats.
Sideline seats. Yep, that's what it was. Yeah, whatever.
Courtside.
Yeah. So it was field side seats right there. Back then when Budweiser was one of the sponsors. I think it was a sponsor, right?
Budweiser.
Yeah.
I still have the hat and the
sunglasses and shit. Yeah, I think I have them too. We did a lot of shenanigans. They even told us to, hey, calm down. Hey. They told us, they was like, shh, don't say that. We don't say that. And then I was like, all right,
It's homophobic.
Yeah. I remember Pablo Mastroveni, he was he was the coach back then. He acknowledged us too. He kind of said hi and stuff. And I think he came by and did he sign something for us, right?
He signed, I think, the flag.
Yeah, he signed the flag, I think, that game. And it was so much fun, man. Like, there's a lot of memories. And yeah, we've been through thick and thin, if we suck, we suck, you know what I mean? 7-0, like 4-0, like it was, but when we won, man, that was something, like just fans going wild and, we were going wild and, I remember we started and, we wanted to really know the chants, we sat with, the C38 supporters group, that's what the supporters group is called, Centennial 38. Shout out to them. They've they've been really cool about letting us, being there with them, and a lot of them are really cool. They come and say hi, and that's where all the drums and stuff are. That's where the real party is. It was a great escape, and I wouldn't change it for anything else. Just going with my brother. He's passionate about the team. I'm passionate about the team. Johnny's definitely passionate about the team. There's been some years where we've been like, I don't know if we want to go back again, but we just go. We keep going back. It's just part of the game. Sometimes we just don't see eye to eye with the management. The management, I think, is one of the things that's been holding the team back. The ownership. I mean, we almost made it to the playoffs last year. Chris Armas was, I thought, a solid coach, but obviously they didn't think so. We kind of dropped the ball there at the end of the season. Definitely, I think we should have made the playoffs, but I mean, it is what it is. Today, as far as the date, we're going to be playing Salt Lake, which we don't like. That's our rival. When you think of rivals, you think as far as like. Here in Denver teams, it's like
The Raiders.
The Raiders for sure. What's the Avalanche one?
Right now, the Wild.
The Wild.
Minnesota.
What's for the Nuggets?
Lakers.
Ugh,
But he's a Laker fan.
Lakers being. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a whole thing. It's called the Rocky Mountain Cup. Yeah, I mean, but Utah has been smoking us. It's not even a joke. They always kind of want it, but we won it the last 2 years. We're hoping for a third year, Yeah, I mean, we'll pass it on to Johnny and he'll tell you a little bit about his experience about the Rapids.
Well, when I remember first being a fan of the Rapids, probably back in 2001, when I first went to a game when they still played in the old Bronco Stadium. The new one, but it was called the Invesco Field. Now it's going to be the old one in a couple of years. But they were still kind of up and down. I remember Chris Henderson. I remember, specifically remember one name. It's Mark Chung, because every time I looked at the highlights, he was always scoring. But nobody remembers Mark Chung except for me. But I remember Mark Chung because, and I remember looking at his ratings in FIFA 2002, and he sucked. But I remember he was always scoring goals. They were always like up and down, and then they finally got their own stadium like in 2006, 2007 with Hercules Gomez. I remember Hercules Gomez. I remember that first game. I didn't go to it, but I watched it, and it was very cloudy. But we won. That's all that matters. But after that, we didn't really do much until 2010. 2010 was when they finally had this like Sandlot group that made it all the way to that finals, and with that goalkeeper they call Jesus, Matt Pickens, finally won in Toronto, and we still hold on to that championship like, it's still ours, When we finally got into the season ticket member was in 2016, when I cannot believe my favorite goalie of all time, besides Miguel Calero, Tim Howard. Tim Howard was finally our goalkeeper, even though it was his last year's. I was like, I have to watch this guy. This is like one of my favorite players of all time. We're talking about all sports, not just soccer. So that was cool, and after that, we stayed. We stayed being season ticket members. We're passionate to the bone. We even see Colorado Rapids 2. We see the U.S. Open Cup. I bet you if there was a Colorado Rapids women, we'd go. There kind of is now. It's called the Summit. And the tickets are a bit expensive, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna go to watch.
We're hoping to go.
Yeah. When I used to drink, they would probably have to like drag me out sometimes. And like, hey, let's go, because you're getting a little too crazy. I'm still a little crazy, but less crazy now. But yeah, we were super passionate about our Rapids.
Oh yeah.
Even though we have different teams on other soccer leagues, Rapids are our number one team, and it definitely brings us closer. And hopefully, if you guys are interested, we would definitely bring you like some tailgating experience of the Jig and J Trading Bros Rapids tailgating.
That's what we do best, is tailgate.
Tailgate, and then probably after, if we win, when we're in the mood, when we don't lose, we'll probably give you like some after. But that's all up to you guys, and if we're in the mood for it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Tote?
Sí, señor. Once again, right here, Mr. Tate with you guys.
Seasoned.
And sharing something I don't want to share. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, look, we're talking about Rapids. I have to say that I'm fan since the beginning. Early 90s, right? There was like no teams, no league around. It was hard to watch games from another leagues in the TV too. In Commerce City, Colorado, there was a Greyhound Stadium, and we're that right on the middle of the track. Right there was a soccer field. So I do remember watching these Colorado Foxes playing in there, while everybody was watching the dogs racing, right? And betting and all that, it was fun. A year later, probably after I watched the first game of the Foxes, we heard the news that MLS is gonna be a real thing, Major League Soccer in the United States. And during those times where I was in my early 20s, I guess, well, the league formed, and then they decided to be the Rapids, and we were on a green uniform and all that.
Best uniform.
And I do remember spending some time with Johnny's father, and he will get us into the stadium for free. We were. I will say that we were the first supported section that we were with a little drum, right, and just making noise in there because Johnny's dad was a coach of little kids back on those days. So yeah, I mean, go to the opening game right here on the Old Mile High Stadium. It's a memory that I still have it. And during all those years now, I've been season ticket member in 2 periods of times, but I always try to go to the Rapids games as much as I can. From that, the history is just writing down to the point where, like, the Rapids I were doing so good after the championship. I remember told Johnny just sort of like just looking for someone to come to the game with me. It was a playoff game. And he says, yeah, let's go. And from that point, like we invite my nephew David, and then my brother joins right after that, a few weeks or months after we went to the first game.
Yeah.
And like the supporter section of C38 has been, Rapids for a long time. They get together, and we became very close friends with some of the guys over there too. And then our season ticket membership seats are like just right there with the C38 support section.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big deal for me to go to a soccer game because I prefer to go to a soccer game than watching on TV. Of course we have to watch TV because we cannot go to every single game that we like to go, and, especially in other states or in other country and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, every time that I go to a soccer game, I try to enjoy as full as I can. and enjoy. Pretty much just enjoy. Scream a little bit here and there. Drink a beer. Smoke a cigar.
Amen.
Enjoy the presence of my brother, my cousin, my nephews, my sister-in-law, and all that. So yes, it's just a matter of have fun too, like just making videos. All over the years, it's just one championship. Well, it's just one, and at the end of the day, I learned in my life that yes, you can be so passionate about one thing, specific sport. You can get mad and you can scream, at the TV or right there on the stadium. But at the end of the day, it's just have fun and don't get it too hard because it's just what it is, a sport, you know, for the players to have fun. Now it is a big deal, just players getting a bunch of money. It's just pretty much their life.
Yep.
Going short careers. Well, we support the Rapids. Big time. Big time. It's what it is. It's just Rapids kind of life. We move our schedules when go to the parties, go to a concert or wherever. We first check when the Rapids play,
Camping.
and then we figure out where or what we to do and when. What it is.
Rapids play that Saturday. We're gonna have to choose another Saturday. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, those are some great, some great point. You got to hear a little bit about what the Rapids have meant for each of us, and we love it. We love going. And we're gonna keep moving on with our second topic, and that's gonna be the World Cup coming up here in June. By the time you watch this video, I'm pretty sure we're already going to be towards the end-ish, or maybe it's already passed. The first game is going to be Mexico versus South Africa, and that's going to be an exciting one. Where are they playing at?
Now they changed the name of the stadium. It was Banorte, and now it is Ciudad de Mexico Stadium.
Okay, so they're playing in Mexico City.
But if you want a better reference, the Azteca.
The Azteca, yeah, the big stadium. We're excited. We're definitely hoping that Mexico goes farther than most years, but I mean, I don't know. We wanted to go to a game, but my God, those tickets are expensive. And they didn't end up coming here. We were one of the cities here in Colorado where we live, where they were considering us for having one of their games, but we didn't make the cut. We really, as far as World Cup are concerned, I remember watching my first World Cup. That was back in, it was the one in the 90s.
La Francia.
I remember El Matador. I don't remember who I was watching it with, but I remember, watching it, and it was just like an exciting event, and and Mexico was playing, and I remember scrubbing out. I can't remember who beat us. It was one of the European teams, and it was like Belgica or something that eliminated us. One of the fondest memories I have is when we went camping in Gypsum, Colorado, and we ended up watching the Mexico Germany game, and we ended up winning that game. And my God, it was we went to this little Mexican restaurant that was there, and we asked them, we were like, oh my God, can we watch the game here? And then they were like, oh yeah, I think so. And then they accommodated us, and they had a TV there, and we ended up just we were just. Everybody started, we kind of intoxicated everybody, and then everybody was watching the game, and, since we were having so much fun, everybody was like, oh, yeah, and, I remember going to that little Mexican restaurant and just eating, and we were, and then we were there, and then we went back, and we partied. We partied at the campsite because there we don't have any signal or anything, so we couldn't watch it there. But my God, it was epic, And then we ended up scrubbing out, but against Brazil. But yeah, if you guys want to hear more about soccer, we would love to talk more soccer. As far as like video podcasts, I think, right? I think we all love soccer and we really like to talk about it and stuff like that. But I'm gonna kick it over to Johnny and let's see kind of like what his fondest memory is of the World Cup and what he thinks about this World Cup coming up.
I remember starting watching the World Cup in 2002, Korea, Japan, if I'm not mistaken. The reason why I was a Mexico hater when I was little is because my dad and my brother used to watch, because we only had one TV back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to watch my cartoons, my daily cartoons, my Saturday cartoons. And during the World Cup or during any Mexico or Cruz Azul game, they would come and take it away. They'd be like, "It's our turn to watch," and that's why I would hate Mexico, and that's how I developed my love for USA. So every time it would be USA versus Mexico, I'd be like, "Come on, USA, come on!" And then that 2002 World Cup, I remember that because USA beat Mexico 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
And I was loving it. Yeah, loving it. I've been a huge fan ever since. International friendlies, World Cups, Copa Americas, the European ones. As far as leagues go, I've only been interested in two leagues: the Liga MX and the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
But internationally, I am like into it, especially the World Cup and what it means to these kids and what it means to the whole country.
Yeah,
it's a war without death. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I started really being a fan of Mexico in 2010 because I felt like the U.S. was changing and it wasn't really getting invested like the women's U.S. national team. Because the women's national team is
they're still
the best.
Uh-huh.
The U.S., but the men suck. And Mexico has a little more balls, but even this year, I still don't believe in them. But I definitely cheer more for Mexico now than the U.S. This one is going to be different because it's going to be more like our afternoon after work. And all the World Cups I remember, it's always in the mornings. It's always during our work or during school time.
5 a.m.
Yeah, 5 a.m. The 2002 one, I remember it was 4 a.m. I had to wake up USA, Germany. I was sleeping, but still up. Not looking so much forward to this World Cup, but interested. See if there's gonna be some crazy stuff going on,
Crazy shenanigans.
You
never know who's gonna win,
They say Spain. I think Spain is the favorite.
Is it?
France.
And baguettes.
Baguette. If Mexico wins, that'd be cool.
I'm not really excited about the World Cup. There's many things that has been happening in the world. I will not go politics on anything. Right here in the U.S., there is no promotion. There is nothing, like normally like soda companies and all that, or beer companies will like launch special cans or like something to make people excited and buy the products. It is not there, and it is very weird. Like our teams. And when I say our teams, it's because it's Mexico and United States is our teams, and they really don't cut to see, like getting really excited. At least for me, I was actually putting money together to kind of like figure out, like if we're going to another state right here in the United States, We had to pay a hotel and all these things, and the ticket for the game, blah 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 blah. But it gets too ridiculous. Try to get a ticket. Just try to get it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to join. You have to do all these things. Then it's so expensive. And now I see a lot of people from other countries that they're actually saying, no, how the world is going, I'm not going. Like getting the money back and blah, 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 blah. So I don't know, how it's going to be. I have my hopes, for our teams to actually do a decent games, where at least there is no like boo boo and eh, all that kind of stuff on the stadiums that people can actually respect each other's and enjoy the game, like I said before.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have one specific memory that I can say it is my favorite. I do remember 1982 Spain World Cup, but it's kind of like fake memory for me. But I do remember exactly how it was on Mexico 86. And from that point on, like I do remember, Italy 90, 94, United States 98, France 2002, Germany, and I can continue all of us. Very good selections of players for both sides. At this point, I hope for the better, but I think, again, it's going to be just the same. Like it's either going France, Spain, Germany, uh, Brazil, or Argentina. It's always like that.
Same old candidates.
Which is good, for them because they're actually spending whatever they're doing in their countries that is actually working because they're continuing on top of the game. But that's what it is, like we continue support our teams, good and bads, but it's not much of excitement, at least not much.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I'm more hoping for some good games. Maybe not blowouts. I hope, but yeah, like I said, Mexico games, the first one to kick off the World Cup. That's definitely going to be, a lot of eyeballs on this game. A lot of eyeballs. Everybody tends to watch that first game. I'm pretty sure that the game sold out, especially in Mexico. That's a World Cup doesn't come often. When was the last? You said 86 was the last time it was in Mexico, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, what, like 30 years, 40 years?
40
years since the last time they were in Mexico.
10 World Cups.
Yep. It's crazy to think about, like what he's lived, with his family, with my experience. As far as like the World Cups are concerned, we all have different means of what we remember, what we think were fond memories. But yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to it as things progress. Hopefully, the Mexico and USA teams get better, not worse, like they've been going the past few years. Unfortunately, our rapid season gets paused. Because we're right now, as far as the date is concerned, we're gonna have one more home game, which is on the 23rd of May, and then after that, we don't have one until July, which is
the last of July too.
Yeah, I think it's like the 22nd of July that they come back. So that's a pretty big gap, and we also know that this MLS season is going to be shorter because they're going to be doing a new format when it comes to 2027. So definitely going to be interesting to see what what the MLS does and what the World Cup is like. We'll definitely come back with another episode as far as coming back and our thoughts of what the World Cup was. And if you guys have anything that you guys would like us to talk about as far as soccer is concerned, we can also accommodate. Comment down below. Let us know. We love to talk about soccer. But yeah, I mean, to close it out, we're kind of we've already mentioned a little bit about what our favorite teams are, but I think to close it out, it's going to be more of a what each of us have as far as teams are concerned, so you guys know kind of who we support. As far as Johnny has already kind of told you a little bit about like he only supports like MLS and Liga MX, so he'll be letting you know kind of like who he supports. But as far as La Liga is concerned, I'm an FC Barcelona fan. I have been for quite a few years. I remember when Messi was there. I remember when a lot of these Ronaldinho and just yeah. I mean the good old days with I can name a bunch of them, but yeah, I mean we're not gonna go down that route yet. Recently, I kind of been more of a Manchester United fan as far as that is concerned, and it's mostly been because of my brother.
United.
United. I know, I don't know much about their history, but I know that there's been a lot of great players that came through that club. Right now, I mean, they're not doing so hot, but they've been these past few years, but they're not like the bottom of the barrel, if that kind of makes sense, But they're not up there with like the Manchester Cities or the all these other teams. Arsenal is doing great and stuff like that, and Liverpool, and you got all these other guys there. They have a lot of competition, I think, as far as who gets to the top spot. But sometimes it is, a blowout where like Liverpool's like 15 points ahead or something ridiculous like that, As far as Liga MX, Cruz Azul has been, my team. From worst to the best times, whatever. Been always a supporter. No team is perfect, but yeah, I mean, I love, ever since my cousin Carlos, he's kind of like the one that, started that for me, back in the 90s, in early 2000s, I think is when I really, really enjoyed, watching the games and supporting and, and to this day, today they actually play Chivas, as far as the date is concerned, they play Chivas for the second leg. We're hoping, right now the score is 2-2. Like I said, it's been through the bad times and the worst times. And then as far as MLS, of course, you guys know it's nothing but the Rapids. It's always been nothing but the Rapids. But yeah, that's a little bit about who I support as far as, those are my core teams, of course, you got the Summit right now, we definitely, like to see like the USA women's soccer team, like he mentioned, they've been great. They come and play here in Colorado a lot. So we didn't catch these last few ones, but we're gonna try. If we can, we try to go. We'll try to go to one of those games as well. I know that the stadium gets pretty packed when those kind of games are there. But yeah, I mean, we got like the Summit. We're gonna support Colorado teams. We got like the Colorado Springs one. What's it called? The Switchbacks. The Switchbacks. I've seen a few of their games. And like said, the Colorado Rapids too. I remember, the first shooter that they started. And they've been doing great, except for this season. I mean, this season's been, because the players switch up a lot. But like I remember, like when we made it to the playoffs, and we came and we went and supported them, during those playoff games, and they were just so much fun, Even we lost, but it is what it is. They were really fun, and like I said, we support the Colorado Rapids through and through. I think that's mostly where I watch the most is them, follow them, away games and home games. I know a lot of, like their players and, who kind of they're eyeing and stuff like that. I keep a lot of news as far as that, but we'll kick it over to Johnny and he'll let you know kind of what his teams are.
Only got two teams. As far as clubs, one you already know, is the Rapids since 2001, but pretty much since '96. But my second team is Pachuca. Pachuca is also playing in the playoffs in Liga MX against Pumas, and that's tomorrow. And if Cruz Azul wins, and if my team Pachuca wins tomorrow, they meet in the finals. That would be crazy. But
Hermano chingarado.
Pachuca has always been like when I've been growing up, they've been like the little brother of Cruz Azul. Even though Pachuca is the most oldest team in Liga MX, they haven't won really anything until the '99 season. That was against Cruz Azul.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, they've just been pretty much like winning the league and international cups. So I've been really lucky enough to be born in their successful run as an organization. And I've been very lucky to see the Rapids also win a championship, so that's cool. I've only been to 2 games of Pachuca since they're in Mexico. One is against Pumas, but it was on the road. And let me tell you something about Pumas Stadium and the Pumas fans. They're rowdy and they are a problem. And if you're not a Pumas fan in Pumas Stadium, I suggest you kind of just either be with your section or kind of just clap because it gets heavy.
Yeah, they get savage. They're savages. They're fucking
savages.
They're crazy.
I've also been to an Azteca game with Pumas against America. That was pretty fun. It's pretty fun not to be a fan of either one so you don't get into problems. And I've been in one home game with Pachuca and it's like home. This one, the Rapid Stadium is a little smaller than Pachuca Stadium, but it has the same feeling as of one level and then being like very high altitude and having like the mountains in the background. So it's like, it feels like home. It feels like they're destined for me. They're destined to be my teams. Other than that, I have no other teams except one, and that's just because yesterday I was watching a video of Liverpool and their stadium Anfield, and it's very interesting and how they got like 1800s, 1992, all the way to now, and how it just grew, Anfield, and like the city, and how even the Beatles are from Liverpool. So that's it. It piqued my interest yesterday, watching even some classics against Wolverhampton in '72. But other than that, yeah, I just follow 2 teams, and that's the Rapids and Pachuca.
Look, when it comes to teams, I have soccer-wise, there is just 2 teams. I follow others from other countries, but I would not say that I'm really a fan of them. Because to be a fan and to follow a team is kind of like different, at least for me. So I'm America fan since I do remember have knowledge of soccer. Okay, my dad is from Chivas, and I do remember this memory when we went to Tianguis, to the Mercado, to a market, where my dad was trying to buy me the uniform of the Chivas. And no, I don't want it. I saw the yellow one over there, and I want that. And I do remember wearing that till it gets destroyed, pretty much. It's been teaching me a lot of things to be a fan of that team. Aside of everything that is going on, just what is the sports like. And Rapids, of course, because, being here in the United States, go to Mexico to a game is crazy expensive to begin, and go to a lot of games from America is crazy too. And America's been here in Colorado, I don't remember, 3 or 4 times. you know what it's like. Go to see your team. And Rapids, of course, and since the league begins, and I will continue. But I gotta say that America is one of my passions when it comes to soccer. Now, if I had to talk about other leagues, yeah, I'm supporter of Real Madrid, and that story is because when I was a kid, there was a Mexican player, Hugo Sanchez, playing for Real Madrid. So in Mexico, it was a big thing about it. You know, pretty much the city will shut down to just to watch the Hugo Sanchez play. For that point, I was a supporter of Real Madrid, but not really a fan. Which eventually I did love to watch games, here and there of the Real Madrid, and I'm a Manchester United fan too. Because when I was a kid, well, it was not like right now, like you can just pay 15, $20 and watch a bunch of games. It was just pretty much what was on channels were getting the rights for to transmit back on those days, and one of those was the Manchester United. So I can say, like I've been watching those games. But, other than that, I'm not really following those teams that hard. But American Rapids is kind of like more like right there. But it's just what it is. I mean, a lot of when I was becoming fan of America, I was just winning championships like no others. So of course, as a kid, you want to be with a champion team, and you will choose that kind of like go for them and like the colors and all that. You'll see my story with when we get to talk about American football, how I became fan of the 49ers. It's kind of the same similar. But right now I can say like yeah, I'm just like a Johnny. If I had to say, I have two teams in soccer. One in Mexico and one in the United States. And that's about it. And I support both selections. Both national teams. United States, but a little bit better, more to a Mexico national team.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that's our story. The story of my life.
Oh man, great episode. Got to know us a little bit more. Our interest in soccer. We're looking forward to the World Cup, as we mentioned, and we'll come back around. We'll run it back. We'll run it back once that World Cup gets through with. But thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Whoever watches. We'll come back with another video podcast, and we're gonna be chilling. We're gonna be talking. We're gonna be doing a lot of stuff. Don't worry, we're gonna keep going with the openings. Don't worry about it. We got you. Thank you for watching. I'm Jorge.
And I'm Georgie.
And I'm Johnny.
Thanks for watching.
Till the next time.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, all that good stuff.
Bye bye.
Sayonara.
Sí, señor, como de que no, it's my turn. Ay. How can I say everything that I want to say without cursing? You are cursed. The world actually is changing because a lot of people is becoming how do you say it? Like in córtale mi chavo. ¿Cómo se dice? Naturalizados en inglés. Cuando la gente se hace de otro país. Sí, señor. Once again, it's my turn. I'm sleeping because these guys don't shut up. Blah, 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 blah.